as I mentioned, I was inspired to write Tyrannosaur as a 10-year-old boy when I found this guy, this actual dinosaur in a swamp in the neighborhood where I wasn't supposed to be screwing around. We had 7 kids, so it was hard to keep track of us all. I brought this animal home. My mom took one look at it and said, "You're going to get the typhoid flu off of that thing, out of the swamp." And so his name became Flu. My 6 siblings, you ask them who Flu was, they're going to know. This was 60 years ago, 62 years ago. So he talks like this. He goes, and in the poem, when he crushes, he goes, "Crush you, crush you, crush you, crush you." Going to a Thanksgiving dinner and I family and somebody goes, they know, where's Flu? These are his Confederates. This is Silver. Well, these, by the way, were made by the Marx Toy Company starting in the 1950s. I'm a toy collector, amongst other things I collect. And these are very cool. And this was the original design. This is based on the Tyrannosaurus Rex that was in the Yale mural. I have it in the display case back there, a miniature of it. The Yale mural is the great emergence of the reptile. So these are, if you look at that closely, you'll notice that this is called the pot-bellied T-Rex. This is Silver. He is the scientist on this journey. This is Green. He is the explorer. He's the scout. He's the front guy. And then this is Silver 2, and he's missing a fang. So he is in charge of muscle. He's sort of like the muscle guy. He's also from a place called the Marx Dump. So when Marx Toy Company in Pennsylvania went out of business, they dumped a lot of stuff. This one had the small defect where it's missing a fang. So it ended up in clay, and people went out there and dug them up and sold them on eBay. And actually a Marx Dump dinosaur is worth more than a Marx dinosaur. Unfortunately, I cleaned the dirt off of it, which is like cleaning a coin. Yeah. So, I never really gave up in my quest. I was a nonfiction writer my whole career. I started out as a sports writer for the Lansing State Journal, covering hockey, and then when Ferris started hockey, Pat Heater's here, she's one of the first hockey people I met. They brought me up here because they needed help, because we were expanding our athletic department. And so I came up, started helping out, writing stories about hockey, and then of course I became the sports information director, and we had 18 sports. And then I became news and all that, and I've written nothing but nonfiction my whole life. So it took a couple of years. I retired 5 years ago, and took a couple of years to kind of get it out of my head and start. I'm left-handed like Mike, so I got to get that right side going again. And I finally kicked in, and I wrote Tyrannosaur, and since then I've written a couple hundred pages of stories and other poems, and some of which are published, some of which are in the process of being published. So it's become kind of a drive again for me. It took a while to get that juice back. As we mentioned, this was conceived as an allegory as well. It talks about the pollution of the earth and things, but it's really more about the fantasy of a boy and what a young boy's imagination can do. Or a young girl's imagination. I'm not sexist about imagination. I'm just a boy, so I can talk about mine. And I tell you, it was all over the place. And my mom banned me from watching Outer Limits. You are not, because I had nightmares and stuff, and she wouldn't let me watch it. And it came out in '63. I was 9 years old. I was crying. It was hysterical. And I was just like, they had to hold me down. You can't watch Outer Limits, no. I did sneak some Twilight Zones in. But the best part of that story is I saw my mom 30 years later, and I told her, you know what, I bought the DVD of Outer Limits, and I've seen every episode. So she got a good laugh out of that. And we want to talk about, you know, a boy's fantasy, you think of Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh, I didn't understand it when I was a kid and I read it, but now it was Christopher Robin's fantasy. It was a boy's fantasy. He created this world, in fact, an empire. Winnie the Pooh is worth more than a lot of countries as a franchise. So that was all about a guy. He actually had Christopher Robin in the story, whereas, you know, we put the boy at the very end and then wrapped it back around. Have you seen The Twilight Zone with Billy Mummy? It's a Good Life, it's called, where a boy that's 10 years old can control anything with his mind. And he creates TV, which is, of course, dinosaur movies and things. And so I grew up watching Rod Serling, Alfred Hitchcock. I think my generation, you know, I'm 71, is the first generation of writers that grew up idolizing television writers. It's a new art form, and I'm more that way. My stuff is shorter, kind of to the point. I was used to being a journalist, working on deadline, having a time. So I'm not a novel guy. I'm more of my stuff is shorter and kind of punches to the point. And with Hitchcock and Serling, they were big with the surprise endings. And that's what I strive to do is come up with clever endings to stories that make you think about what the story's really about. It's not really what you're saying, it's what you're not saying, really. You let the reader fill that in. And you gotta trust the reader. You can't just spell everything out. You have to trust that they're gonna see it. The good thing about fiction is anything can happen. Suspended animation, sure, why not? So these animals burst through time. I mean, they jump through the time portal. That's possible. If you saw Jurassic Park or read the book by Michael Crichton, that was based on science, even though it was a fiction. It attempted to say that the Tyrannosaurs and the dinosaurs in that movie and in that book were created through the DNA of the mosquito from the Jurassic times, which bit an animal, and of course the blood of that animal would be in the mosquito. They extracted it out of amber that they found and created beasts. My stuff isn't that. This kid just says, hey, they're coming back, and that's it. They cut right to the chase. I'd like to just go through the panels real quickly. We also have some books here. If anybody's interested, we'll sign a book for you. We're not asking for money. If you want to make a donation, that's fine, but we'll sign them. The first panel, the story began 65 million years ago. And it says 65 million years ago, we ruled the world, and now we are back, bursting through the pinata of time to reclaim what is ours and meet our destiny. So the Tyrannosaurs are bursting through time, and they're gonna come back and take over. And we go to, from a distant past, we have risen, our suspended animation awakened, gigantic and ready to reign again. They're chasing people. They're back. It's kind of like a super Godzilla. I mean, there they are. It's actually these guys. That's what they really look like in real life. And then crush you, we are the Tyrannosaur, big and strong, and that's their battle cry. And they're not nice creatures, okay? I mean, this is not Barney the dinosaur. I'm sorry, they're gigantic animals that have to eat more than anything we can possibly imagine. And they're just, they're not cuddly. Smashing through the terror of your stolen lands and cities, to the mountains and waters we go, 8 tons each, the greatest of the predators, unstoppable in our perfection. So they believe that their land was stolen by us, that we stole their land. So they're gonna just smash their way back. There's nothing very complicated about it. Marching ahead through the last of the runaway frontiers, stomping, roaming, and restless, eating tiny morsels of alligator meats along the way. So they even eat their own kind. They begin their march to the Himalayas, And there's no creatures in their path that will be spared, including their young cousins, the alligator, which, really one of our better drawings. One of Mike's, not ours, Mike's. Mike thought his drawing. Fear us, and then we explain their hunger. Fear us, for we are raging with hunger. Sustain for us, those mortals we spared, corrals of horses and walruses. So they have humans corralling up these animals for them, and then they're carting them along. And there they are up in the mountain, kind of, roaring down on them. The smaller creatures we see, the bite-sized fleshes of pigs, pack mules and elephants to carry our meat, lions biting and clawing their stumpy feet. So they're using lions as kind of their enforcers too. They like lions because lions kind of remind them of them a little bit. They're and kind of at the top of that food chain, they kind of stick together. And it is a cold reality that they have to eat a lot. I don't know what else to say. It's a Tyrannosaur, it's 50 feet long, weighs 16,000 pounds. What else can I say? Crush you, we are the Tyrannosaur, big and strong. And then they've been watching us all these years. For many eons, we have watched you wallow in the fat of dirty rivers, bombing everything unbroken, and that which will be left unspoken. So they're just mortified by our behavior, and there they are watching the planes coming in and bombing, and there's some innocent deer, that Mike put in there just to tug at your heart a little bit. But now, so then they take the pause, and then now we hear the whispers of a snow-packed mountain far, far away, and then that's their call of the wild, the Himalayas, the untouched wilderness. Never mind that they're reptiles and they probably would not live there. It's too cold, or even if they're birds, they wouldn't make it. But it doesn't matter because, when I was 10, it didn't matter. And we just bring these guys out, they're going. We shall construct for us puny humans, so they don't like us very well, the massive ships and wooden arcs to bear us across the fords and seas. So there we are. People that are left anyway, that they haven't eaten, get to build arcs, and there's a little bit of a reference there of some type. I'm not going to get into that. We shall lumber toward the light of the tundra and taiga, north by northwest through Alaska and Canada and Alaska, over the Bering Strait. So they're going all the way up through and across the Bering Strait, and then through Siberia and onto the Himalayas, where the Yeti yet survive your filth and waste. And they have a north by northwest is a cheeky compliment to Alfred Hitchcock, who I talked about earlier. And they are greeted by the Yeti, who is a creature that they respect because it's a creature like them that's gotten by without man. And we've yet to really have a Yeti. We haven't seen where in King Kong they brought the Kong back. They haven't brought a Yeti back for us to gloat at yet. So they really like that. He's just kind of sizing him up there. He's not going to eat him, I don't think. And once again, we will rule the world. For we are the Tyrannosaur, big and strong. And then there's the end of the poem, and then you see here the boy drawing, and these are some of the drawings from the poem. And then here's Flu right here. So, and then there's the roar. I'd like to read the poem real quick. It's only a one-pager. And I'd also like to talk about the indie comic concept. 72% of authors now are self-publishing. It's just the technology right now is so advanced. I mean, this company that we work with to do the comics is called Comic Wellspring. They're in Detroit, so it's a Michigan company. They're They're amazing people. They will do anything at all to get your book published. They'll do 20 copies if you want. So we worked with a Detroit company, and that was very satisfying. In fact, Randy and Travis are here today. They were working on my house when the books were delivered, and they were got one right out of the box. There it is. I also have a friend in the back, Dr. Jim Nystrom, who has been there as a sounding board for me, and also as a man with a very vivid imagination. So it really helps sometimes to find people like Jim and Mike that will think crazy things like I do. It's being a writer again is hard. It's not easy. You got to work all the time. You got to fix things all the time. But that's the beauty of it. And no longer being on deadline or working for seven or eight vice presidents, 7 or 18 associate vice presidents. I can now freely do what I want to do, and it took a couple years to figure that out. So here we go. Tyrannosaur, a manifesto of the fantastic. 65 million years ago, we ruled the world, and now we are back, bursting through the piñata of time to reclaim what is ours and meet our destiny. From a distant past, we have risen. Our suspended animation awakened, gigantic and ready to rule and reign again. Crush you, for we are the Tyrannosaur, big and strong. Smashing through the terror of your stolen lands and cities, to the mountains and waters we go. 8 tons each, the greatest of the predators, unstoppable in our perfection. Marching ahead to the last of the runaway frontiers, stomping, roaming, and restless, eating tiny morsels of alligator meats along the way. Fear us, for we are raging with hunger. Sustain for us those mortals we spare, corrals of horses and walruses, the smaller creatures we see, the bite-sized fleshes of pigs, pack mules and elephants to carry our meat, lions biting and clawing their stumpy feet. Crush you, for we are the Tyrannosaur, big and strong. For many eons we have watched you wallow in the fat of dirty rivers, bombing everything unbroken, and that which shall be left unspoken. But now we hear the whispers of a snow-packed mountain far, far away. Construct for us, puny humans, the massive ships and wooden arcs to bear us across the fjords and seas. We shall lumber toward the light of the tundra and taiga, north by northwest through Canada and Alaska, over the Bering Strait, into the vastness of Siberia, and onto the Himalayas, where the Yeti yet survive your filth and waste. And where, once again, we will rule the world, for we are the Tyrannosaur, big and strong. Let's take a bow.